Yes, so I'll fastly run this PPT so that we'll see, okay, we have covered everything. So PC have two elements, right? Widgets and the location. So yesterday we have talked about the widgets, right? There are two types of widgets. One is the atomic widget, which will contain input, cell, and button, correct?
Mhm.
And another is an input is this any text input, date field, or anything. Okay, a
Mhm.
button is a button, and a cell is a specific uh, information which we store right in a particular table. Okay,
Mhm.
so if this is the second row and the third column, second row and the third column will correspond to one cell. So,
Mhm.
so cell is also an atomic widget, right? It is also building block of the PCF file.
Mhm.
Okay, so these are three are the atomic widgets. Apart from that, we have a second type of widget, name is container widgets. So
Mhm.
container widgets are the widgets which contains the atomic widgets.
Mhm.
Just okay. And there are different types of container widgets, right? We have just discussed yesterday detail view. We have not
Mhm.
discussed input set yesterday. Okay, we'll discuss it today. We have discussed about list view, we have discussed card view, we have discussed list detail view and the screen, right?
Did we discuss
And
list detail view?
sorry,
Did we discuss list detail view? I think detail view, list
okay,
view,
we have discussed
log
these
view.
two topics separately. Okay, well, I'll discuss this
Uh-huh.
list detail view in brief today.
Mhm.
And we have input set, right? So we this is also a type of container. So what is the difference between input set and other types of detail view, right? Input set is also a container which will contain some information from one object. Suppose there is an object of AB contact. Okay, so if you want to display the columns of those object, right, we will be using detail view. But if
Mhm.
we don't want to show all the fields, okay, we just want to show only one or two fields, right? So if we want to create a smaller container, then that case we will use input set. Okay, but input set specifically is used when that particular container is reused in multiple other PCF files. Okay, so when there is a reusability concept, right? So when we suppose there are two fields, okay, and these two fields we have to refer in multiple other PCF files. Okay, suppose there is an address field is there, right? So address would have three lines of address. First would be the address line one. Second would be address line two. Third would be address line three. Fourth would be the pin code. Fifth would be the state, and
Mhm.
then country. So these four five fields are combined together. They can be used in multiple other places, right? In multiple other screens. So we have to create a one PCF file wherein we can refer that PCF file in multiple other places as well. Okay.
So,
Hmm.
say I create that these address fields as a detail view. Even then, I can use it, right? Even then, I
E-
can use it in multiple PCF files. I mean, I can create one
Yeah,
piece.
yeah, I can do that. I can do that as well.
It's
But
just the naming
mhm,
convention what Guidewire is following.
yeah, but there is some difference between detail view and input set also. Input set cannot be editable. Okay, it can
Okay.
if we want to make it editable, we need to refer it to the detail view. Okay, and then we have to make that detail view editable. Then only the input set can be editable.
But if you're creating a PCF file with the address information, is it just for the displaying of address, or will you be will
Anything, any
user be
it
able to-
yeah, it can be if we want to make it editable, we can make it editable also. That user will enter the address and it will
then
be
it
get
has to
stored.
be part of a detail view?
Yes, yes. So we can also create an input set, okay, of the address. Suppose I'll give you one example. So there is one place where we need to make. There are two screens where the address field are there. Okay, in the first screen, the address fields are uneditable. It is only for viewing purpose. But in the second screen, we don't want it for the viewing purpose only. It should be editable only. So for the first screen, we can directly refer that input set. But in the second screen, we have to refer that input set in the detail view first. And in that detail view, we have to add the edit buttons. Then only that input set will be editable. So that's the difference. Okay, we cannot add edit buttons directly to the input set. If we want our input set to be editable, it has to be referred to the detail view first, and then we
Mm.
can make it editable. So that's a small difference, but yes, Guidewire recommends, suppose if we are not showing the complete information about the object, right? If we are just we have couple of few fields, so in that case we will use address in input set. But if we want to have a large number of fields displayed, right, for one particular entity in the screen, then we would be using detail views
Mhm.
in the guide wire. So this screen, right? If you can see
Mhm.
the screen, so when this is a combination of list view and the detail view. Why I'm saying so is, you can see here, if we will click on the first row, this details which are mentioned in the screen, right? This side of the screen is
Mhm.
related to this particular row, right?
Mhm.
In the detail view format. If you will click on this second row, so this screen will change. If you will click on the third row, this screen will change. So the in this case, the list view and the detail view are interrelated with each other. Based on the list view, based on the rows of the list view, my detail view screen is changing, right?
Mhm.
So if we have such type of combination, right, so we will use list detail view.
Mhm.
Okay, and screen is a secondary container. So secondary container means, as we have already discussed, right, that screen is, whenever we want to have an atomic widget, we cannot drag and drop it in the screen directly. It has to be come from detail view input set or the primary container. So these are the primary containers:
Mhm.
detail input set, list views, detail views, card view, screen, page, all these are the secondary containers. So,
Mhm.
so you can see the example of detail view, list view, and input set here, the
Mhm.
address view. So, okay. So here we are referring, we might have created this input set somewhere in another PCF file, and we are referencing it to the
Mhm.
detail view. Okay. And detail views you can be used for view and edit purposes, as well as list view can also be made as editable.
Mhm.
Okay, and input set can also be made as editable. So this is the input set, right? To make the input set editable, we need to reference it to the detail view.
Yeah.
As you can see here, it's written here, cannot have a toolbar directly associated with them. Toolbar means edit buttons.
Mhm.
Okay, so we cannot add edit buttons directly to the input set. And it cannot be referenced by the secondary views. So this can only be referenced to the primary view, that is detail view. These three are the primary views, right? List view, detail. So it can only be referred to here. It cannot be directly referred to the screen.
Mhm.
So if we want to refer an input set to the screen, first we have to refer it to the detail view, then that detail view we have to refer it to the screen. Okay, so in secondary views we have card view. List detail view is also a type of secondary view.
Mhm.
So now there is a very minor difference between page, screen. You might have understood, right? Or do you want me to explain it more? What
The
is
page
the,
is the total
yes,
whole thing, right?
correct.
With the
Yeah.
banner on the top and all those things.
Yes, yes. And summary is from just the not the other sections from top
Mhm.
bar, not the sidebar. Summary
Yeah,
is just the page.
that
Okay.
is the screen.
Mhm. So if you can take a screenshot of this screen. So why? Because this is very useful. This will summarize everything about the PCF file. how it can be referred, what is the hierarchy. So atomic widgets can be added directly to the input sets. It can be added directly to the detail view. It can be added directly to the list view. So these two are the primary containers. Okay, our card view, list detail view, and screen are the secondary containers, right? Be- because these cannot be directly added. Atomic widgets cannot be directly added to this. So first it needs to be added to the detail view or list view. Then that detail view has to be added either to the screen of or to the card view.
Mhm.
Okay, so this shows the hierarchy. And in interview, this gets asked a lot about the hierarchy that can be uh, mm, refer the atomic widgets to the screen.
Mhm.
What is the process if we want to add a button on the screen? So how do we do that? So we need
Mhm.
to explain the entire process.
Okay.
Yeah. So these are the types of widgets what we have discussed. Apart
Mhm.
from that, there is another PCF element. We call it as location. Okay, so what location will give? What is the behavior of the location? Location is nothing but it will be used for the navigation purpose from one page to another page in the application, right?
Mhm.
Suppose I'll give you one example. So in the sidebar, you can see, right, there are multiple options available, multiple pages available.
Mhm.
Uh, Let me debug my server so that my application will be started. Okay, let my server get started.
Okay.
Okay, but you can imagine till my server is getting started, right? You can imagine the location group. In the sidebar, you can see, right, there are multiple pages. That summary page is there, contact page, okay, account page, address page. So all those are in the sidebar. You will get all the list, right? You will click on the summary page. You will get all the summary details. You will click on the address contact, you will get all the contact information, right? So
Mhm.
those that list, that particular list which we see in the side of the screen, right, that we call it as location group. Okay, and the PCF file which contains this location group has to be suffixed by LG. LG means location
Location.
group. Yes. So in here we can search with if we have any LG or not. So we'll search for lg.pcf. Okay, and we will create star lg.pcf means anything lg.pcf. So we'll see for AB contact what do we have,
Mhm.
or do we have any person LG? No, no. We have AB contact LG. Okay, so you can see here the number of screens: summary screen, person detail screen, company detail screen, place details, addresses. All these screens we can see in the sidebar, right?
Mhm.
So if we want to add any new screen, right, what we have to do is similarly to this, we have to I'll just do one thing. I'll copy this and I'll paste it here. And
Mhm.
here I'll give the PCF file name, which I wanted to be shown here.
Mhm.
Okay. And I'll pass on the parameter. So here in the parameter, we have to give the required variable. Okay. So I'll delete this one. Let's suppose say take an example of this, the first summary page, right? So here in the location tab, this is the PCF file name of that particular page. Okay.
Mhm.
So I'll copy this, and this is AB contact summary page. So you
Mhm.
can see here. So summary, this is the location group. Okay,
Mhm.
summary, details, addresses, notes, social media, and lists. So this is the location group,
Mhm.
and it is used for the navigation purpose, right? You can navigate from one page to the another page
Mhm.
using this.
Mhm.
So that's how location group is used. Then we have a page. Page is something which we have to use inside the location group, right? So you already know about the page. So page can have multiple references to other screens, right? Like you have search here,
Mhm.
all these, you can see all these references. Okay. Another one is wizard. So what, this is the important one, wizard. So wizard is something which we will use if we have some requirement, or if we have some functionality, right? Where we will have a sequence of the screens. For example, when you are creating an account, okay, so while creating an account, you will have certain set of screens, right? You, for in the first screen, you have to give the your personal details like name, email ID, personal phone number, all those stuff, right? Then you will click on the next button. On the next page, then you will be landed in the next page, and then you have to give the details of your PAN card, your civil, all those stuff, right? Aadhaar card number, KYC details, right? And then you will click on the next button. After you click on the next button, you will land on the third page, which in which you have to uh, upload your photograph, upload your documents, and then you will click on the finish button. So finish button, when you click on the finish button, it will create an account for you. Okay,
Mhm.
so if you have such type of functionality wherein you will be navigating through a sequence of the screens, right?
Mhm.
For those functionality, we will use wizards. So wizards is nothing but when we'll create wizards, it will have a set of screens which will have next or previous or finish button at top of it.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'll show you in Claim Center what is the use of wizard,
Mhm.
where the wizards are used. So in Claim Center, wizards are used for creating FNOL, first notice of loss.
Mhm.
So when we create FNOL, right, the first, our first screen is we need to provide the policy number.
Mhm.
Okay, we need to first we'll ask the customer service representative will ask the claimant, right, what was your policy number. Okay, it will feed in the policy number, and second screen would be the details of loss. Okay.
So this
Yeah.
should be common for the claim center, right? So does this come as a out of the box?
Yes, this comes under the out of the box functionality. We can customize that according to the client requirement. If you want to add a new field or remove a new field according
Mhm.
to that, this comes under the out of the box.
Got it.
Okay. If we want to add a new screen to the wizard, okay.
Mhm.
If you want to add a new step, we can add that. If you want to delete any step, we can do that. All those customizations can be done from here.
Mhm.
Okay, so let me show you the example of a wizard here. I don't think we will have any much example from the training app, but do you have the claim center set up already?
No, they haven't provided me yet.
Okay, I we have to check with them for the claim setup also. So there is in training app there is one wizard, import wizard is there, right? Suppose if we want to import something, some data, right? So it is a set of two screens which we have. First
Mhm.
is the upload screen, okay, and second is the conflict resolution screen. Suppose we have uploaded it in when we click on the next button, some conflicts has been arised, right?
Mhm.
So these this wizard is the combination of these two screens.
So
So
from
you can,
here, can I find out where this particular wizard is being used in other? I
yes,
mean,
yes, you can find out that.
okay.
So here you can see import wizard is there, right? Import
Mhm.
wizard.pcf. So to find out this, what you have to give is Control Shift F, import wizard. So you can Control Shift F will find all the usages of this particular PCF file, right? So you
Mhm.
have to check one by one. You can check where I'm using this.
Mhm.
So where I'm defining it, means referencing it. Okay. So for that, you need to check here. There are so many places, so it will take time to figure out.
If I want to see this in UI, I just wanted to see.
Okay, in the UI, you import data info, right?
Mhm,
So, okay, so if I'll go to the admin, suppose I need to import some data, right? I'll do it from the administration. I'll go to the utilities. There is one page, import data. So you can see here, you can,
mhm,
from in the first screen, you can browse the file which
mhm,
you want to import, and then you have to click on the next button. Okay,
mhm.
so you can see next button, cancel button, previous button has already been means it is already added here. If you want to see the PCF file related to it, you can do Alt Shift W. Okay,
Yeah.
it will show you the PCF file. You can see here import wizard they are using,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And this import wizard is used in utilities.pcf. So let me go to Control C and I'll check for
That
utilities.
import wizard is part of utility
Uh,
PC.
yes, yes, correct.
Okay,
You can see.
got it.
So from the if you'll go back, sorry, you can if I'll see the
Okay.
utilities, right? This is the
Yeah.
location group, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it has these many screens. So I can see this in the location group. This is the
Yeah.
file name is you. This is the file type is location group, right?
Got it.
So these are the many screens which we have.
Mhm.
So that's how this is one example from the is training app. But if you want from Claim Center, the example is when we create an FNL, we have a set of screens.
Mhm.
So we'll be using wizards.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you want to create a new screen, right, what we'll do, we'll just add a wizard step here. Okay. And in the in the first you have to give the ID. Suppose here some ID is there, right? If you want to give some, okay, if you I want to have it in the second place, I'll give some ID custom. Okay, and then I have to give the screen name
Mhm.
which I need to refer the PCF file of the screen. Okay, I have not created any. Shall I give this one? I have to give the screen name, no? So
Mhm.
I'll use the screen which we have used here. AV contact summary.
Mhm.
Okay, I'll give this. But AV contact summary screen is inline. Okay, I'll search for some other screen. AV contact detail screen. But here I need to give the required variable also, right?
Mhm.
So I need to give the required variables in the parameters. Blank screen. I'll give blank screen.
Mhm.
Okay, for sake of simplicity. Okay, and title would be okay blank screen. Double quotes. Okay, I'll save it and I'll do Control Alt Shift L. Or let me do one thing. I'll make it a first step. First step. Okay.
Mhm.
Now it will appear in the very first step only. So you can see I got this blank screen here.
Mhm.
Okay.
But then did you not give the ID as blank screen?
I can give any ID, right?
Yeah, but
I
why am I so yeah, save it. And then
Yeah.
when you go to the page, it still shows import something or yeah, import
Okay.
data.
Okay. This is not that ID. Okay. You are saying that
That would be a title.
the title, huh? It will. So this is the wizard. So if you want to change it, you have to change it in the utilities.pcf, right? From here, the label, this property, because you are checking this, right? Here it
Mm-hmm.
should be blank screen, right? So
Mm-hmm.
this is coming from utility.pcf file. So utility.pcf file, in the first, you have to change the label blank screen. You have to add the blank screen here. Then only
Mm-hmm.
it will be. Okay, so I'll remove this as of now. So this is high level on the wizard, and this comes with the out of the box application for FNOL, and we can customize it according to the client requirement. Similarly, after wizard, we have pop-ups. So
Mm-hmm.
what does pop-ups shows? I'll give you one example from the training app itself. So in generic, can you tell me what do you understand by pop-ups?
If you want to display some additional information or take an input from the user.
Uh, yes. So pop-up is something which you cannot, which will appear on top of the screen,
Mm-hmm.
right? On website also, if we block the pop-up, right? If something is coming in the top of the backend screen,
Mm-hmm.
so we call it as a pop-up. So pop-up as in it will prompt us to for some action, right?
Mm-hmm.
When the
Mm-hmm.
pop-up will appear, it will have some action on it. When we will click on the screen, it will go back to the previous screen,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's when we have similar type of functionality in the Guidewire, we use the concept of pop-up.
Okay.
So like for example, see here. So if we'll click on the edit button,
Mm-hmm.
okay, not here. Um, this is also not a pop-up. I'm searching for how I can show you.
I mean, yeah, that's
Mhm.
fine. I can understand the concept.
Yes, you can assume the
When you're
concept,
going
but
to
I'm
add
checking.
or delete, you just want to make sure that the user gives an
Mhm.
input to
Yes,
confirm
yes.
he wants to do the
Yeah,
action.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Correct, correct. But still, let me check whether we have anything in the training app or not. Okay, I think we can. Yes. So this is an example of pop-up. So when you click on the action tab and you click on you want to click a new person. Okay,
Mhm.
new person means you are creating a new object of the AB person entity. Okay,
Mhm.
so when you're clicking on a new person, you can see that you have this editable screen, right? So if
Mhm.
you have to provide this information, and if you'll click on the OK button or cancel button, it will take you back to the previous screen only.
Mhm.
Okay, so you can see here there is a screen return to addresses, means it will take us back to the previous screen once we
Mhm.
update this. So this is an example of pop-up in Guidewire.
Mhm.
Okay, as soon as we click on OK button, it will take us to the address screen from which we have from where we have started.
Mhm.
Okay, and if we want to see the pop-ups from here, it will be coming in on pop-up.pcf. Okay, so we have multiple type of pop-ups. AB contact detail pop-up. Okay, so if we want to see this pop-up, new person pop-up, right? So new person pop-up, Control Shift and
Is that not AB contact pop-up?
AB contact search, AB contact detail pop-up. No, it's not that. We need to check na here. Okay, I'll check it with using Alt Shift W. New contact pop-up.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'll search it here. Yeah, this one.
So it's just a PCF file, but
Yes.
so by defining it as pop-up, or is there any special configuration for
Yeah.
Guidewire?
There is a special configuration for it. Suppose so. What is the speciality of this? When once you define something as pop-up, right? So
Mhm.
it will have this section for
Okay.
the link to the previous screen.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay. Otherwise, if for normal PCF file, it will not have the link to the previous screen. Okay,
Okay.
and if you are done with saving the data on this particular PCF file, right, it will
Mhm.
automatically direct you to the previous screen. But
Okay.
if you will save the data in the detail view, right, it will not
Mhm.
take you to the previous screen automatically,
Mhm.
right? So that's the difference. So if we have some such type of requirement, we use pop-ups. Otherwise, we can use normal primary containers.
Mhm.
It's a small difference. We generally people we in the real time projects we don't use we don't create new pop-ups actually.
Mhm.
Client doesn't have much of the requirement on creating new pop-up or something. What we'll do is we'll just create the detail views, and we if we there is a customization from the already present pop-ups, right, we can do the customizations.
Mhm.
I do not remember any requirement till now, right? Where we are adding a new pop-up.
Got it.
It's very less. It's very rare.
Mhm.
Okay, moving next. Mm, we have worked about the pop-up now. Okay, we'll talk about this worksheet later because I don't want to talk about it. I want to show it. So we'll take a note of it that we have. Uh, for worksheet we have still pending, and we'll be covering it when we'll be covering the claim center. Okay.
Mhm.
When we'll be covering the claim center function, right? So during that we'll discuss about the worksheet,
Okay.
because we have in claim center we have so many examples of worksheet means for activities generation, right? When we create an activity, so it is created in a worksheet.
Mhm.
Okay, now forward is something if you want to just go from one screen to other screen, right, using a link. Suppose if we want to add a link,
Mhm.
right, and we just want to add a text here in the screen, and
Mhm.
that text will take us to some different screen in the my application.
Mhm.
So mention it as a forward.
Mhm.
Okay, because whatever we are talking about here, right, these location, so location will help us navigating throughout the application. So you can see, so location group is also for the navigating applications. Wizard also going from taking us from one screen to another screen, right, with the next and previous buttons. Pop-up is also helping us to navigate to the page, and then when we are saving the data, it will navigate to the previous page automatically, right? So
Mhm.
these are the navigation options. And exit point is something, suppose if we want to have integrate, means suppose there is a button, okay, inside this application there is a button that open claim center. Okay, see this contact, suppose in the summary DB we have, so we are seeing the contact here, right? That
Mhm.
contact is having a name, all these information. This contact might be present in claim center also. Okay, that
Mhm.
can be a chance. So there might be a button where we would be writing that see this contact in the claim center. When we'll click on this button, it will take us to the claim center screen. Okay,
Mhm.
if we have such kind of requirements wherein we are leaving our application and we are going to the different application screen, in that case we'll configure the exit points.
Mhm.
Okay, so these are the
So
high level.
forward is kind of going to a different page in the same application, but exit
Correct,
is
correct. Exit point is exiting the current application and opening the page of different application.
got it.
Okay, so in we have few examples of forward in the application in the claim center also.
Mhm.
So uh, we when we are going through the claim center application, right? So you can see all those examples there.
Mhm.
Okay, so any questions up till here if you have?
Yeah.
Okay, otherwise we'll go forward and how to create a detail view. Okay, so PCF file which we are creating, right? The drag and drop PCF file. So you could
Mhm.
see automatically a text file for it would already be generated.
Mhm.
Okay, so when you have to check in the code, right? When you have to check in the code in the Git, so you will be checking in this XML file. You
Mhm.
might have a question that, okay, how you will check in this particular PCF file, right? You don't have to check in this particular PCF file in the backend. This PCF file, there is a text content which is already created automatically. So you need to check in this text file, automatically created text file.
So Git will be integrated with this IDE.
Yes, it is automatically integrated.
So if it's automatically integrated, then I don't have to check in
We need
specifically.
to, we need, yes. So we need to install Git here and from version control here, right? So you will be able to see the Git.
Yeah, but when you try to check in, it will directly check in the text, right? It will not check in the page configuration.
Yes, it will check in the text
So I do I
automatically.
have to do anything specifically to
No,
make
no, no,
no, right? Okay.
no. So if you'll see in the, if you will see this file in the folder structure. Let me open this file in the folder structure. If we'll just open this file, right, like this, open with uh, some editor, notepad. So it will be opened as XML file only.
Mhm.
So this is just an XML file only, but if you will open it in the studio, it will appear you like
Yeah.
this, or
Right.
drag and drop thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. So we have covered everything, and we there are certain commands, right, which we have discussed yesterday. In enable internal Alt Shift W, Alt Shift L, Alt Shift E, right? So these
Mhm.
all the commands will be working when we'll have this enable internal debug tools as true. In the config.xml, we will have this parameter where we can mark as to enable internal debug tools. So
Conflict.
config.xml file, sorry. I'll search for enable internal debug tools is true.
Mhm.
Okay, so to make all these shortcut commands working, we need to add this, and DCVM should be installed. So that's why I've made you install DCVM.
Mhm. I mean, even for the claim center, it's the same case.
Yes, yes. As you have already installed the DCVM, right? So you don't do it over and over again while installing Claim Center. For Claim Center, what you need to do is you will get a zip file. Okay. You just need to extract that zip file and start the Claim Center Studio. That's it.
Mhm.
Because all the backend configuration is already done by DCVM installation, Java installation, and path setup. Everything has been done, right?
Mhm.
So, and it's same for Claim Center also. That's why this is a generic training. It will apply to all the sectors.
Mhm.
So if you want to create a new PCF file, so there might be a question which might be hovering around with you, that how to create these type of PCF files. We have seen so many type of PCF file, right? List views, detailed views. So if you'll go to the PCF section, if suppose I need to create something in the contact, okay,
Mhm.
some PCF file for the contact. So I'll go to the contact. Okay. Okay. And suppose basic some PCF file I need to create. So I'll click on the package, right click, PCF file. Okay. And then from here I can choose the type of the PCF file.
Mhm.
Suppose I want to create a detail view,
Mhm.
or suppose let's say I want to create an input set. Input set. I'll mark as AB contact custom.
Mhm.
Okay. Input set. AB contact custom input set. So I'll create it. Here, suppose I need to give some variable. What variable I should give here? I'll give an AB contact, and we are just defining the variable here, which we'll be using inside the PCF file. Okay, and we will
So to
add.
refer this input set, you will be using that whatever variables the ID. Is that what it is?
No, not the ID. So in this variable is something, suppose we'll be using throughout our input set to refer our data. Okay,
Mhm.
so we are creating AB contact input set, right? So this PCF file is related to AB contact entity. So that's why in the required variables, because we might be using this object to refer the columns of the AB contact, right?
So
So
can we
that's
have multiple objects defined?
yes, yes, we can define multiple objects as well.
Okay, got it.
Okay,
So basically, that required variable is kind of like you're telling which entity it needs to read the data from.
yes, correct.
Mhm.
So let me take an input. I'll put a text input. Okay, text input. Again, I'll make it as custom, or okay, let me check, and the contact dot nickname.
Mhm.
We have added this text input, right?
Yeah.
Nickname yesterday.
Mhm.
I'll give nickname. ID is nickname input, and label is nickname. Okay. Fine. So we have created this input set. Let me create another one more field, date field. Okay, and let me check which date I will pick. NAB contact dot last legal case reported.
Mhm.
Okay, I have added the date column and last legal case report date. Okay, ID field is okay. Last report date. Okay. So now my input set is ready. Now I cannot use this input set directly, right? I cannot refer it directly to the secondary container. So first I need to refer it to the primary container,
Detail view.
correct?
Mhm.
So, um, okay, suppose I want to show it this in this screen,
Mhm.
right? If I want to show this in the screen, so first I'll check, is there, do I have any already existing detail view? Okay, I have this detail view, right? So I'll
Mhm.
try to refer this input set in this detail view.
Mhm.
So how I need to refer the input set is I will use input set ref,
Mhm.
input set ref. So I'll drag and drop the input set ref at the down. Okay, I got this input set ref, and in the definition of this input set ref, I need to give the name of the input set, which I need to refer AB contact custom input set. Okay. In argument, I have to give the object, which I have defined it in the required variables here, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so if I have defined two required variables, I have to give that in the argument. So you can see here also in this PCF file also there is one required variable and with this object name. So I
Mhm.
will use the same name here. So it's like a method calling.
Mhm.
Okay, we are calling that PCF file, input set PCF file with this particular parameter.
Mhm.
Okay, that's it. You can see here my input set has been mentioned here.
Mhm.
I'll save it. Okay, now if I want to see the changes, what I will do, Alt Shift L, sorry. So what is the new thing which we have seen here is we have to use uh, input set ref to refer an input set to the detail view. Okay,
Mhm.
so you can see after the primary address, I got this input set here. Name,
Yeah.
last legal report date. To separate it out, you can have an input divider also. It will, okay. So it is a line which will separate.
Mhm. Alright.
Okay. So that's how it is. If I'll click on edit, it is not editable. Why? Because editable is false for this. I need to
Mhm.
make editable as true. How I can do that? I'll go to the input set. Okay, for each widget, I need to make editable equal to true. And even
So
for the
once
in
you are making this editable equal to true, wherever I am referring this input set, it will be editable there, right?
yes, yes, yes.
Mm.
And you can see we have referred it in this DV, right?
Mhm.
So it will be editable. Alt Shift L. Cancel it. Alt Shift L. These are editable.
Mhm.
Okay, you can. Hmm. You can give the values and it will be saved in the DB.
Yeah.
So that's how input set is referred using,
In detail.
yeah, is using input set ref.
So in input ref, you gave ID, right? Can you go
Mm,
to the detail
okay.
where we call the,
Yes,
yeah.
we have given the name of the input set, not the ID.
So
The
name
file
of the
name of the
input set
input
is
set.
nothing but PCF file name, right?
Yes, PCF file.
With whatever required fields,
Correct,
object of the required fields. Okay.
correct. And if you want to, this is the reference part. If you want to refer a detail view in a secondary container, right?
Mhm.
For referencing detail. And so here we are referencing input set, right? If we want to reference detail view or
Mhm.
DB2 secondary view, right? So we do it using panel ref. You have to use panel ref.
Okay.
Okay. So you can see here panel ref. So the panel ref is here, and same thing. You need to give the PCF file name.
So if I want to refer a list type.
Suppose this is the DB, right, which is already referred in this page. So I will see, you can see here panel ref, right?
Yeah.
So if I'll click on the panel ref, you can see that this D. Okay, yeah, just a second here. So you can see here this detail view is referred to the card view. Okay,
Mhm.
CV detail view is referred to the CV. So they have used panel ref here. So you
Mhm.
can see in the after panel ref they have given the DV PCF file name with the required variables. And you can see your input set also here. Why? Because we have referred that input set to this DB. And
So what if I want to just reference a type, a list type?
list type, okay. That for that also we have to use panel ref. So
Okay. So
prime, if we want to refer primary container to secondary container, we have to use panel ref.
Mhm. And
Primary to
after panel ref, we have input set ref. That's all. Or is there any other reference that like that?
no, there are only two references,
Okay.
two
Got
types
it.
of it. Okay. So in the hierarchy, you could see, right? In the hierarchy, there
Mhm.
was, if you'll see this hierarchy, this one, the
Mhm.
card you can also be referred to the screen, right? So this can also be referred using panel ref.
Mhm.
Okay. Only input set is different
Mhm.
because it is, yeah, it is uneditable, right?
Mhm.
So
And
that's a little
input
bit,
set can only be referred in detail view.
yes, it can only be referred in detail. That's it.
Okay.
Okay, I think Chandra, we are done for the today's session.